Christmas Eve always came quietly to the top floor of the glass tower, where Daniel Cross stood alone by the window, watching the city glow like a distant constellation. He was a CEO, a man whose name moved markets and whose silence filled boardrooms, yet that night, as snow brushed the edges of the skyline, his penthouse felt unbearably empty. He loosened his tie, exhaled, and wondered, if even just for a moment, what it would feel like if someone were waiting for him at home. Before you blink or scroll away, stay with this moment, because what happened next on that Christmas Eve didn't just change his life, it changed how he understood love, family, and the meaning of giving. And if stories that touch the heart mean something to you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe, because this one is going to stay with you long after the lights fade. Daniel had built his empire after his wife passed away 7 years earlier, leaving him with a newborn son and a grief so heavy he buried himself in work to survive it. Raising Ethan alone had taught him discipline, but not softness. His son was spending Christmas with grandparents that year, and for the first time, Daniel was truly alone. No laughter, no ornaments, no tree, just silence and the low hum of the city below. He told himself it was fine. Christmas was just another day. Yet something in his chest tightened when he remembered how his wife used to hum carols while decorating, how she insisted on a tree no matter how small their apartment was. He pushed the memory away and headed downstairs, deciding to walk home through the snowy streets instead of taking the driver. The city was alive with warmth he felt excluded from, families holding hands, couples laughing, children tugging at scarves. He pulled his coat tighter and turned into a quieter neighborhood where the lights were fewer and the buildings older. That's when he heard the small, trembling voice. Excuse me, mister. He turned to see a little girl, no more than 7, standing beside a nearly bare sidewalk lot where a few unsold Christmas trees leaned sadly against a fence. Her coat was too thin, her boots worn, but her eyes were bright with hope. She looked up at him as if he were the last chance she had. She pointed to one of the smallest trees. Can I borrow that tree for my mom? Just for tonight. I promise I'll bring it back. Daniel blinked, unsure he'd heard correctly. Borrow a tree. He knelt slightly to her level, the cold biting his knees. Borrow? He asked gently. She nodded fast, as if afraid he'd say no. My mom's sick, and she's sad because we don't have a tree this year. She keeps saying Christmas doesn't matter, but I know it does. I just want her to smile. Just once. Her voice cracked on the last word, and something inside Daniel cracked with it. He glanced around, half expecting an adult to appear, but it was just the two of them in the quiet snowfall. Where's your mom? He asked. The girl pointed to a dim apartment building across the street. Up there. 3rd floor. She can't come down much. Daniel stood slowly, his breath visible in the cold air. Every instinct told him to walk away. This wasn't his world, not his responsibility, but another part of him, the part that remembered carols and laughter, refused to move. All right, he said softly. We can borrow it. Her face lit up like Christmas morning. He bought the tree, carried it himself despite the weight, and followed her up the narrow stairs of the old building. The apartment was small and cold, the furniture sparse, but it was clean. The girl rushed ahead. Mom, look what I borrowed. A woman lay on the couch, her face pale, eyes tired but kind. She struggled to sit up, confusion turning to disbelief as she saw Daniel standing there with a tree. I'm so sorry, she said weakly. She shouldn't have bothered you. Daniel shook his head. She didn't bother me at all, he replied. She reminded me of something I'd forgotten. He set the tree in the corner and noticed a small box of old ornaments on a shelf. Without asking, he helped the girl decorate, hanging each ornament carefully as if it mattered, because it did. The girl laughed, the sound filling the room with a warmth that no heater could provide. The woman watched with tears in her eyes. I used to love Christmas, she whispered. Before everything went wrong. Daniel met her gaze. So did I, he said. And for the first time in years, he meant it. When it was time to leave, the girl hugged him tightly. Thank you for letting us borrow Christmas, she said. He swallowed hard. You don't have to bring it back, he replied. It's yours. Walking home, Daniel felt lighter than he had in years, but the night wasn't finished with him yet. As he reached his building, his phone rang. It was his son. Ethan's voice was small and sleepy. Dad, are you okay? Daniel smiled, tears stinging his eyes. I am now, he said. I really am. That night, he made a decision. The next morning, he returned to the apartment with groceries, warm blankets, and a doctor's contact. He learned the woman's name was Maria, that she was fighting an illness alone, and that her daughter, Lily, had been carrying more hope than any child should have too. Weeks passed, and Christmas turned into a new year. Daniel didn't just help financially, he showed up. He read stories to Lily, sat with Maria during treatments, and slowly, a family formed where none had existed before. His son joined them, laughter returning to his life in ways he never thought possible. Daniel realized that success wasn't in numbers or titles, but in moments, like a borrowed tree, a child's smile, and a heart reopened.